Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you on Bright House Cable every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. We talk politics here. We've been talking politics for 9 years, and I'm here with Glenda Chauncey and also Jose Miranda. He had his own radio show for a long time, and Glenda is a political activist, and all you guys know me. This is the Lawyers Consumer Directory. Lawyers Consumer Directory can be found in 170 7-Eleven stores, also in the Orange County Courthouse and a lot of restaurants. This book is distributed free of charge, and what it does is it educates you on specific topics such as divorce, bankruptcy, foreclosure, and it also, you can look through this book and find a good lawyer. So don't respond to that one commercial you get for 30 seconds. Pick up this book where you have choice. Okay? And it's got great facts and great phone numbers, and it's free of charge at every 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida. And it's free, so pick it up. All right, so now we just finished the Republican convention, and Mitt is gun-ho. And what's the difference? What's the difference between Obama and Mitt Romney?
I don't see any.
You don't see any difference?
No, not really.
Well, Mitt didn't go gun-ho. He took a vacation.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, yeah. Most people, when they finish the convention, they have that push.
Yeah, they get a 5%.
Yeah, whatever bump, you know, he's got less than 2. In any event, not avoiding the number, just put the number aside. But usually they go out and campaign. They stump the people.
Just to tell everybody,
they glad hand everybody.
This guy is the most liberal Democrat on the planet.
They glad hand everybody.
Just so there's a pin. And our friend here, Chauncey,
I'm in the middle.
She's in the middle, so she's a libertarian. And I really am not in any corner right now.
No, I've just said I'm
an independent voter.
It's just there. He went on vacation. He said to the media that he was polishing up for his debate.
Well, maybe he was tired. He needed some rest.
But they saw him kind of big old boat, you know, kind of toughing it out. So he took a vacation.
You mean like Obama when he plays golf?
I think it's great playing golf.
Oh, okay, but it's not. A vote is no good, but playing golf is good.
No, I'm talking about what usually happens after they do the campaign.
I tell you what, why don't we see what Obama does after the convention?
We shall see that.
Maybe he goes to Martha's Vineyard.
I'll bet you $50,000.
Like a lot of minorities do. A lot of minorities go to Martha's Vineyard and spend $500,000.
I'll bet you $10,000. Would you take that bet?
What, 10,000?
10,000.
I don't have 10,000. I'm Puerto Rican. What's the matter with you?
There you go.
Now, you were a cop in New York. You probably have some stash, but me, I don't have that money.
Right.
No. That's not be smart.
No, but I mean, really what's wrong with that? I mean, if somebody's out there campaigning, you know, if that's what they're doing, and they're.
What I'm saying is I bring it up as a matter of recourse that it hasn't been. They've been doing that since 1986, and so it's just
maybe our country needs to start taking a little bit of a break. I mean, we're all high stress, and you know.
The country probably
I'm
does
with
take
you.
itself seriously.
I think we should shut down the country for a week.
Yeah. Well, I think a little longer than that.
Everybody
I think the country's already shut down.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
I'm not going to follow up with that because that's okay. So we don't have we lost 23 million jobs. You're right. We are shut down.
Okay, we are shut down. So we need to get up off our.
Yep. So how do you propose how the Democrats are going to do that?
I think pretty much the platform that you're going to see, at least you should.
I know how the Republicans are going to do it, so you go first.
Well, I know how the Republicans are going to do it too. We're going to be a lot poorer than we are now. At least that's my opinion. Some will be that.
It's going to be a reversal of a process, because the first thing they're going to do is open up the pipeline down the middle of the United States. Okay?
I'm
So
sorry,
that-
and how many jobs exactly does that
about
create?
40,000. Only 40,000. But what
Okay.
it will do is it'll drop the cost of
I'm
gasoline
sorry, and what part of the nation will that create those jobs in?
in the oil industry.
No, what part of the
In
world?
the middle,
farming,
in the
farming,
center,
right?
right through the center of the country.
And where are we hemorrhaging the most jobs?
Well, we're probably hemorrhaging the most jobs in the black community.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the poorest jobs.
Well, then
which is about
by the-
15%.
By the same token,
which is
tell me
really about 25%.
What pipeline is coming through Harlem? I must have missed that.
let me put you
I
this
must have
way.
missed it. What pipeline is coming to Harlem?
Listen. When you create jobs,
or Pine Hills.
when you create jobs.
Okay. Wait, no. What gas
I'm trying to
stations are being
answer your
opened up
question.
there?
Well, I'll tell you. Okay. When you create jobs, you're putting money in people's pocket. They start spending money. They start spending money in manufacturing, and then those manufacturing jobs are spread all over the country.
That's the same dream that they have. If you give a millionaire a quarter, he's going to give you a dime. And it hasn't happened yet.
Well,
I don't think on either side that's happened. Because it started in the Bush administration into the Obama administration.
look. The reality is, you either want to do government jobs or private sector jobs, right? That's the bottom line. Because one guy, the difference between the two, is one guy is pushing private sector, okay? And yes, he is going to eliminate funding for a lot of programs, and yes, he's going to eliminate a lot of stuff like welfare. He's going to reduce a lot of costs, and there's a lot of waste in a lot of that stuff. But he's going to take his effort and put it into the private sector. The other guy is going to take the effort, okay, and put it into government jobs like he's done, and also unions. Now, I got a problem with unions, okay? Maybe you don't have a problem with unions, but I got a problem with unions.
Okay.
Okay? Because I've hired unions directly. I've sat and negotiated with unions
Right, I know that.
in New York.
I know
Okay?
that.
And let me tell you something. They couldn't give a heck about me as a businessman.
Right.
They wanted to take my money and run. I mean, 20 years ago, I was paying a guy $200 an hour, okay, to empty boxes on the loading dock.
Wow.
He was a box carrier. So he would get $200 an hour on a Saturday and Sunday.
Was his name
to
Vito?
carry boxes. I think it was Vito.
Vito
And he was a Democrat.
Vito
was a Democrat. But anyway, you know, the reality is I don't like unions.
No.
Okay? I don't like unions.
What president said, okay, that to not back unions is anti-American? Do you know what?
No, I have no idea.
1956.
But I don't consider myself
Eisenhower.
I don't.
A Republican.
Why are you going back so far?
A Republican.
That's a
when I'm
different
saying this
era.
has been a Republican
But
era.
that's
This has
before
been
the
a
unions
Republican. No,
excuse me,
unions were very big.
1956,
Unions
we just
were
came out of
still
World War
there.
II.
And we organized.
And the unions were not corrupt yet.
Please don't hesitate to jump in.
The unions got corrupt.
I'm enjoying it right now. Are
The
you
unions
kidding me?
got corrupt in the 70s and the 80s. That's when they got corrupt. Okay?
Legalized
In the
mafia.
50s, it was just, okay, we're going to start making some money, let's organize, which is fine, because I like Cesar Chavez, I like what he did with the
If
farm
we didn't
workers.
have unions, there are certain industries out here, if they don't have that representation, we'll get screwed on a regular basis.
Well, tell me who you're
Okay.
going to get screwed by.
I'm sorry. If, for example, police department, let's use that just off the top of my head. Okay. The police
Do you
department,
have a bag over there?
if the police officers did not have a union, they wouldn't get bulletproof vests, okay? They wouldn't get two-man cars, okay? The powers that be would throw a guy with a shotgun in a car, patrolling areas where require 2, if not 12, okay? And working more than 40 hours a week, working straight without taking breaks, and all those kinds of things. Those are important issues. The same thing in other areas, same thing as teaching. Okay, although teaching has some little flaws in it too.
Little? Oh, wow.
The flaws that they have built in, but still.
Okay, let's go back to the cop thing.
Yeah.
I think every cop, you know, even today in Orange County,
Right.
okay, they're issued vests, and they're not good vests. They're poor vests.
Now.
If a police officer wants a better vest, he has to put in the difference in the money. Even today,
They should be
And
giving it
they're-
because they're volunteering their time.
But that's not the point. All
They're
I'm
not.
telling
They're
you-
not going there.
I'm just telling you the reality.
Most police officers are not stepping up because they're being paid glamorous cash. Okay?
That's what I've been saying
but
all
you know,
along.
listen, they go into that
It's
field
just not-
knowing this is what they want to do. They know what they know what they're going to make or
And
not
so the
make.
public should be able to afford the county,
Why are you
the
always
state,
putting it on me?
the state.
Well, no, they're
should
too
be
busy
able to-
paying the banks. Why pay somebody's out there?
That's my girl.
Well, there you go. They're paying the banks.
That's my girl.
And who's paying the banks right now?
That would, well, right now, who's in office would be Obama. Right?
All right, okay.
But it started with Bush. It did start with Bush.
But this is supposed to be the hope, right? The hope to clean Washington, right? And he paid all the banks off. I mean, there's the banks on TV every week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How do you,
Chase last week, what was it, $5.8 billion?
How do you pay off the bank?
Well,
he's giving,
through TARP. He does it through TARP, and
No,
it's
TARP
tax.
was already approved by Bush.
But yes.
It was
Okay, and
yes,
all he did is rubber stamp what was
oh,
going to
okay,
go
so
on.
he's a rubber stamp president.
Okay, no. It was already
He's
a
the
done
president of the
deal.
United States. He could've stopped it.
It was a
He could've-
done deal. He couldn't stop. You can't even sell bubble gum in the chamber up there.
You see that?
Okay. He
need
can't
a
even
new
sell
president.
bubble gum up
We need
there.
a new
I-
president.
listen,
No, we
If
need
this
a new
guy can't sell
Congress.
bubble gum,
Once
then he
again-
can't.
We need a new Congress. We need
Once
a
again,
Congress to get up off their golitos.
Something.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, there's too much money going out. The money it's got to stop. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
how
I
can you
agree.
keep printing and printing and printing and printing?
I agree.
How can it sustain itself?
Yeah, this-
So why do we keep bailing out banks and executives making millions and
government-
millions and
So should
millions
we
of
have
dollars?
regulations?
right now,
Should we have regulations? More regulations?
Well, I think the government needs to get out of some of our business because I think they're in it too much.
Which specific business would you say?
Federal
Well,
Reserve.
Yeah, Federal Reserve.
They just printed
abortions,
$1 trillion.
I mean,
They just pushed the button on the presses and started printing money.
yeah.
Just printing $1
It's your
trillion,
money.
Okay,
and
so
then
the
they
Federal
used
Reserve
money.
is-
and then
Sure,
they
Federal
used the
Reserve.
Don't get
trillion.
excited, your heart.
And then they used the $1 trillion to pay federal workers. So that it wasn't a dollar. They really give them 80 cents on the dollar or 70 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
You know, they're just printing money. It's like
The banks aren't failing. The banks make trillions and trillions and trillions in dollars. I mean, why do they need all the
We've
benefits?
had some bank closures, though, haven't we?
Who?
I don't know.
Merging. Maybe they merged together, but they didn't actually close.
Okay, so
I don't
they-
think anybody's
listen,
lost.
all of those banks.
What about AIG?
Every
the
one of those
insurance companies and
guys-
stuff
well,
like that?
insurance companies. that's a
Every
different
one.
thing.
Well, where did Bernanke come from? AIG.
Yeah.
The chairman of the Federal Reserve was the guy at AIG who caused the collapse, and now
Yeah.
he's in charge of printing money for the federal government.
Who appointed him?
Was he bad? I don't know.
You don't know? Your boy.
My
Obama?
I like him, though. I like him. I like him. He's got guts.
My boy. Okay.
Obama's good. I really like him. I really like him. The only difference, it's
I
a
think this
difference.
man
of-
is-
I
this
think
man
they're
has
both
changed
great
history now.
men.
Right.
They're both great, intelligent men. It's just a difference in
Different-
approach. It's
different
a different philosophy.
ideology,
A different
approach.
philosophy. Okay, guys,
gotcha.
we ran out of time. This is Danny Ramos, Glenda Chauncey, and Jose Miranda, Hispanic Speak Out TV. We'll see you next week.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome back to Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Our guest is an attorney. He is also running for Florida Senate. His name is William McBride. He's a very well-known attorney in Central Florida, and now he's going into a political career. Welcome, Bill.
Well, thank you.
Do you like Bill or do you like William?
You can call
or-
me Will, Bill, just
Bill?
as long as you vote for McBride.
You're running in a district against a well-known person who's been in there for a while. Well, actually, this is a new seat because
Completely
he's a
new
state,
seat.
he's a
Completely new
state
seat.
rep.
Correct.
So he's running for the same Senate seat that you're running for.
Correct.
Okay. What is your, what do you think is the major issues in that district, and how would you address those issues? I'd like to know something about how you feel about the immigration issue, for example.
Well, I think it's basically where do you come from? And I believe that's what a lot of our voters are going to be looking for in this district. My dad was a Mexican migrant worker. He came to the United States and worked in the fields picking fruit. I picked fruit as well. When I was 10 years old, our family, we lost our home. My parents were trying to buy a home. They didn't have money for that, so they entered a rent-to-own type of arrangement, which ended up being a scam. We lost our home, and we had to sleep in a car. So I know what it is to lose a home. I know what people in our district have lost homes. Many people have slept in cars just like me. And when I was 10 years old sleeping in that car, I told my dad, I asked him, why don't you hire a lawyer? He said, we can't afford one. I said, well, one day I'm going to be a lawyer, so nobody will ever do this to us. So I understand what's happening. I understand what's happening with the housing crisis, the scams that have happened, and the predatory lending. Also, my dad's been a teacher for over 40 years in Central Florida. I followed in his footsteps, and I was a Spanish teacher in our public school system for over 3 years. So I know what teachers are experiencing. I know what the students are experiencing. And I know what it's like to have a child with a learning disability. I know what it's like to be challenged when it comes to these standardized type of tests. If I had followed the suggestion of those tests, I would have never gone to college. I was recommended to go to vocational school. Oh, you're not college material. I had a hard time with standardized tests. Same thing with taking the LSAT to go to law school. But I learned once you could get enough money and pay somebody to prepare you for those tests, I did extremely well. So I want to go in there, I want to fight for that. Also in Central Florida, I also have created over 70 jobs for my employees. We have represented thousands of clients and recovered literally millions of dollars for clients who have been injured, who have lost everything and are facing foreclosure, can't pay their mortgage payment, can't pay their car payment, can't have enough money for food. And I've gone out there, and my philosophy and my business model is, if we don't win, we don't deliver. And if we don't win, we don't get paid. So we can't, there's no time for being busy. We have to be productive. So I understand what's happening in Central Florida. I've had an office in Kissimmee, in that area, and my dad is Mexican, my mom is Dominican, and that's a 50% Hispanic district.
Well, how do you stand on the issue of the undocumented? Do you think there are three positions there? Do we send them back? Do we give them the opportunity for citizenship through some kind of a test program over a period of time? Or do we just out and out make them legal? On those three, because those are the only three possibilities, what's your position on it?
Well, I believe, first of all, we got to be fair about the situation. And we have to identify those people that are victims of what's happened with immigration. And my dad came to the United States. I was born in Tampa, so I'm a U.S. citizen, but I can sympathize what's happening. And people come here that are hardworking, looking for a better way of life. And I say, look, here's how I look at immigration. Immigration is a federal issue. The federal government should be handling it. But if I look at it as my house. In my home, I have 3 boys, a wife, and we got 4 dogs. But you know what I do at night? I close my doors at night. I set an alarm. We know who comes in and comes out during the day. People come and they do yard work, or they maintenance. The toilet breaks, we call a plumber to come fix. The plumber's not going to come live with us. And it's not that we leave our doors open at night so people can come in and out at any time. I believe we have to have, first of all, have a controlled entrance and exit from the United States. I believe that's very important. We need to control our borders. And I say, let's look at this as a business opportunity. Let's make it a win-win. Once we can control our borders, let's make it a win-win. We need those workers. I picked oranges. It's hard work.
But what do you do with the ones that are here now?
Right. I believe that's an issue that we have, first of all, we have to take.
And it is, by the way, it is a federal issue, but it doesn't impact. It does impact local people at the school level because they do occupy schools, and law enforcement. Because no matter what, you got to increase the budget. There's more people to take care of, and so they do have an impact on the local community. It's a federal issue. I agree with that, but it has an impact on the local economy.
As I travel around and I hear very conservative Republican farmers and those dealing in the agriculture, they said, we need these workers here. We need the workers to come here. I believe there's got to be a regulated way for those workers to come in. So we identify, like I go back to the analogy of my house. People come in, they work on our terms, they leave on our terms, and we have everyone accounted for who's here. Now, what do you do about the children that are here? I believe they're victims.
I was about to ask you that.
What do you do about a child who's a year or 2 years that's been here their whole life and speaks more English than Spanish, like most kids that grow up here in Spanish families, that have no connection to their country? I believe that's an area you need to address. Those kids are studying hard. We help kids get scholarships. My mom travels all over the United States helping all type of kids. And recently we had a boy in Ocoee, Juan Briones. He was granted the Bill Gates Scholarship, which pays for undergrad all the way through any type of graduate school he wants to do. So I believe we, first of all, have to identify those children that are here. Obviously, if there are criminals that are here, that, for example, say there are terrorists that are here, we have to identify and get them out. That's very dangerous to our country. But I believe we have to do it in a step-by-step process, and Washington has to take the lead on that, because I believe that's an issue that's a federal issue. But unfortunately, it does put a burden on our local economies, whether it's our education. It does put a burden, but also they're paying taxes when they go to Walmart and they purchase items, or different stores, they're paying taxes as well. I just think it's a situation that's gotten out of control, that we need to first identify and control our borders and know who's coming in. And let's be fair. Look, I'm Hispanic, I'm of Mexican descent, and we're not offended by the talk of immigration or immigration reform. There are times where we're offended by the tone of the immigration. We want to make sure that it's fair. We look at this in a balanced way, and we try to make sure that we're fair in our process on how we address the issues.
Okay. What is the most important issue you want to address in that Senate district?
Jobs and the economy.
Okay. That was my number two.
That's number one.
Question.
I mean, I know what it is to start a business. I started my law firm with a dream of opening a law firm and trying to help people. First, it was a dream to graduate from law school, and then it was a dream to be able to open up my own practice. But that was a risk. I put money into advertising, I put money into staff, and there are times that people stole from me. But I know what it's like to take that risk and to invest in a business and to grow that business over a period of time. And I want that same opportunity for people in my district. Now, as an attorney, if you hire me to be your attorney and you say, I want you to represent me against so-and-so, I'm going to do everything I can to defend you, to protect you, and to look out for your interests. If the voters of District 14 elect me as their senator, I'm going to go to Tallahassee and I'm going to fight for everything that I can get for the District 14. And one of the issues is I want to make sure that we have an environment in not only the state of Florida but in the District 14, and if there are some type of money that we can bring down to help to encourage loans, banks making loans to small businessmen, to entrepreneurs, that's what needs to happen. And I believe then they can create jobs. See, I started with one job, my job, having my own practice. Now I have 70 employees that they all have mortgages and they have car payments and they're invested in our economy. That's what I want to do. That's the American dream.
Okay, so you are a Republican.
Right.
You're running on the Republican ticket. Right. And obviously Darren Soto, who's running against you, or you're running against him, is a Democrat. So your basic difference in the philosophy of self-reliance, is that where you differ, or where?
I don't say I'm running against anyone. I'm running for jobs. And there are two individuals here, and I think you have to look at the experience. How deep of a well can each of us dig from? Who has the experience on creating jobs? Who has actually created 70 jobs in Central Florida? Who has pumped literally millions of dollars into our economy because of those jobs? Who has actually walked into our schools, who has walked into the public school system and taught our public school students? And I believe as you look at that, those are two of the most important issues that are facing our economy right now and in our society. And I believe I have that experience. And I believe I've done it in the past, and I'll continue to do it in Tallahassee.
What do you suggest we do about high school dropouts in the Hispanic community and the Afro-American community, which is really rampant right now?
That is something my mom has been able to address very well. It's about dreaming. It's about seeing something further. As we're helping kids get scholarships, and my mom and I and my dad, we've been working very closely with this, we help kids who never thought about going to college. Their parents have never gone to college. And we start in the 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, and we have them write essays. What do you want to do? What type of service can you begin to do in our society? And then you can be anything you want to be. Look, I'm a lawyer. I'm the first lawyer in my family, and it started with my mom helping me catch a vision. And you know, it's like anything, whether it's professional sports or it's a professional musician or an actor, you've got to start early. And we have to identify these kids in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade and get them involved in sports. My dad was a professional boxer. He grew up on the streets in Southern California California. He had a really rough background. Somebody looked into him and got him to join the PAL. Then from there, he became a Golden Gloves champion. Kept him out of trouble because he was working to become a professional fighter. And he was a 2-time Golden Glove champion here in the state of Florida. And then he was able, someone encouraged him to go to college. So I want to encourage those teachers. I know what it's like to be in a school that's been shut down because it was a it would have been, if they could get a grade at that time, it would have been an F school. But those kids have needs. Those teachers are investing in those kids' lives. And because someone invested in that migrant Mexican boy who really didn't speak the language, who really didn't fit in, who nobody thought would amount to much, but now because they invested in his life and education, now I'm able to reap those benefits.
Okay. You're self-made.
No, I'm not.
You're wealthy.
I believe I've had a lot of good people around me that have
I
helped
understand
me.
that part.
And,
but you're a wealthy attorney in Central Florida. You've already made it. Okay.
We're still making it every day.
What is making you decide to run for office for a lot less money?
Well, I'm not even going to take a salary.
Okay, I know. Well, okay,
well,
I can understand.
I believe this.
What is prompting you, though? Where do you go from being an established attorney? You have an established a major law firm in Central Florida. Obviously, by your own words, they got 70 people working under you. So why make the jump into that sector after accomplishing so much here in the private sector and being able to build from a 70 to a 200 law firm?
Well, you see, because I believe it's about giving back. If somebody had not invested in my dad's life, where would he be today? Where would I be today? It's not, I mean, one day the casket will close, and it doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. It's how much do you invest in the lives of others that can in turn invest in their lives as well. That's what I believe. Money doesn't bring happiness. Money gives you opportunity to invest into other people's lives. And no one is ever secure. Money takes wings and flies away. Look at all, when the economy took a turn, how many multimillionaires or billionaires ended up being bankrupt. So we can't find our confidence or our security or self-worth in money. I believe my self-worth is in investing in the lives of other people. And that's why I went to law school. I didn't go to law school to make a lot of money and keep it for myself and hoard it. I wanted to be successful so that I could help people. And by helping people, it's made me successful. And I believe, look, if we don't win, we don't charge in our personal injury firm. And that's what I believe in Tallahassee. We're having a tough economy. We can't, the budget isn't balanced. We have deficits. I don't believe I should take a salary.
By the way, are lawyers doing better in a bad economy?
It's tough everywhere around. Banks aren't lending money. The law's changing. And some lawyers have made some bad investments. Thankfully, my MBA professor said invest in what you do, and that's what I did. I invested in what I did. So it's a tough situation, but it's about investing in the lives of other people.
Okay. What's your first day in office in your chair up in Tallahassee? What's your first official act?
Well, I would say first of all, I'd be honored to be there. I'm not thinking of that right now. I'm thinking of first of all winning that race. Keeping focused to let everyone know November 6th is the last day you can vote. That's what I'm telling. Don't wait till November 6th. There are absentees that people can apply for, they can receive. There's early voting. November 6th is the last day. So I'm focusing right now until 7 o'clock on November 6th. And I'm just going to plug away and keep focused at that. And if I'm fortunate enough to, and the voters are confident in me, I'll be excited to see what we can do on November 7th.
Sounds exciting. Well, I'll bring you back so we can go through it and see how much how you've been progressing. Okay, and we're also going to bring on Darren Soto.
That'd be great.
Right, and you said you wanted to debate Darren Soto.
Oh, that'd be great. Yes, I know we have one.
Would you do it in English though?
In Espanol or English or Spanglish.
Okay, can we rely on that for you?
Definitely.
You want to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll do it.
Thank you.
This is Danny Ramos. Welcome to Hispanic Speak Out every Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. on Bright House Cable, Channel 49. We will see you next week right here. Again, Mr. McBride running for State Senate. Thank you.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el departamento de vehículos de motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277